truly African.
Hello there, good afternoon and welcome to another edition of your favorite afternoon show, The National Agenda, live here on Pan-African Television. My name is Koko Alomaso, and it is always with so much pleasure and joy that I come your way with this particular show. We are coming to you live from our studios here at number 40 East Swanika Street in Abelempe, across some 46 South African countries via satellite, and in some parts of Europe. You can as well watch Pan-African Television. This show is streaming live on the internet at www.facebook.com/Pan-African Television. Also, we are on youtube.com/Pan-African Television. Make sure you do well to join us. My guests are already seated, and pretty shortly we shall be getting into our conversation for today. There's a lot happening in the world. Currently, as I speak, or as we are here, some of our compatriots are in space. They are exploring the moon. And for the first time in human history, we have seen beyond the moon. I mean, physically, we've seen images, but this time around, physically, with the human eye, we have seen beyond the moon. So kudos to the Artemis 2 crew of NASA. They are doing that job. Also, we understand that the war between Iran and Israel and then the United States of America, as far as that war is concerned, there's a temporary ceasefire, a 2-week ceasefire. The Strait of Hormuz will be opened. I hope that, or we hope that that would ease the pressure, particularly on oil. Yes, the Strait of Hormuz is a passageway for about 20% of the oil that is consumed globally. And so with this fighting, there's been a lot of economic repercussions already. Like all of you are aware, when you go to the pumps right now, petrol is selling in excess of 13 cedis, diesel is around 15 point something, and so it's been felt already. We are hoping that this ceasefire, though temporary, whilst it's temporary, it is our fervent hope that a lasting solution will be found to this particular issue. It's not nice when the world is at war. We are the ones who suffer. The ordinary people are the ones who suffer, and then so that is why we all detest wars. This afternoon we are zooming into Ghana as usual. This is what the national agenda is always about. We pick a topic of interest here on the show and we discuss it at length. This afternoon we are looking at oral Operation Recover or Loot. Oral Operation Recover or Loot. Someone says Operation Retrieve or Loot. Well, recover, retrieve, they are synonyms, and so we'll take that as well. But this government, while in opposition, made a promise to Ghanaians. They made a pledge to Ghanaians that when they assumed the reins of power, or when they assumed the reins of office, they were going to prosecute officials who have plundered and raped the public purse. It was by that statement that a good number of Ghanaians decided to repose confidence in John Dramani Mahama after asking for the presidency on 2 different occasions and failing at it. The third time he was lucky, and the Ghanaian people gave him that mandate to come and rule. So with so much optimism, a lot of Ghanaians were brimming with so much optimism, hoping that when this government comes to power, people who have raped the public purse, have dissipated our resources, would be brought to justice, and the spoils that they were able to steal from us, or the monies they were able to steal from us, will be retrieved. The question remains largely as to whether this oral, agenda by government is just a facade. It's just perhaps, for the want of a better expression, a figment of the imagination of Ghanaians, or it is a dream that is soon going to be realized. A lot of people are not happy about, especially the pace of prosecution of some of these people who are alleged to have plundered the national coffers. So I think an oral committee was formed when this government took over office, and then the committee came up with findings. They told us that if you look at the figures, the amount of money that was stolen, that was some huge monies, and that if all these monies were recovered, it could do so much for this country. So the oral committee was set up. They did their findings. They came with a lot. If you look at the files alone of as far as corruption, theft, thievery is concerned, it was a huge file. But like I said, it appears that Ghanaians are not happy about the pace at which these prosecutions have gone. In fact, the Attorney General and Minister for Justice has come out to tell us that he said the oral team, yes, they did their job, but he can't just go to court without concrete evidence as to who to prosecute, and then to come to the conclusion that this person, truly stole or didn't steal. And so this is what we are discussing today on the national agenda. I'll urge you to join me and my guest as we delve into the issues. I've been joined by Holali. Holali is no stranger to PATV. He's here again with us. Hola, good afternoon and welcome. It's been a while.
Good afternoon, Bless. It's good to be back.
It's good. Yeah. It's good to have you. Yeah. Aside politics, Hola is actually a very good musician. He leads a whole choir. He's actually the leader of the choir.
And you too, you're a musician.
Oh, you've been seeing?
I've been watching your music at home, especially when you are in the air.
Sometimes you have to, but I mean nobody can do without music.
Yes, I can see sometimes weekend when you are cleaning with you always.
It's important.
I watch that. I say my brother is sweet.
Right, Prof. Many thanks for joining us. I hope you're fine.
I'm doing very well. And thank you.
Unfortunately, last week you couldn't be. With
last
us.
week I was here. Last week I didn't.
Last week you didn't come here.
Last week I was here. I came around.
How is school?
The work we do. Piles of work. When you move your table small, come a lot of work there for you to do. So sometimes it's quite difficult. You have to be able to do multitasking to manage other things that you do. And so for me, public advocacy is one thing I love, and I think that is one thing that we academicians must do that dutifully to engender our contribution to national discourse. And so I try to do that balancing act where I do multitasking, and then the other issues that you put them together and everything will sail out. But let me say good morning. Is it the morning? Good afternoon to our colleagues out there. I always want to say shout out to my colleagues on K2 campus. They have actually shaped my thoughts in life. The pressure I receive from them, the guidance I receive from them, and the other little victory that we all receive. By the end of the day, it shapes my thought in terms of how we relate, how we learn, and unlearn certain part of our lives that are not good for progress. And I think we go to make progress together, and that's what we want to work together.
Right, great. So, Prof asked why oral this afternoon, because oral is not really in the news as we speak, but conversations about the Iran-US Israel war has taken center stage. Fuel prices, conversation about the hike in fuel prices have taken center stage as well. That it is tied to that. Yesterday we had that conversation over here, and then despite the fact that we're talking about fuel prices, our conversation largely had to do with corruption, because of the fact that people think that, look, last year government decided to place a 1 cedi levy on every liter of fuel that we buy. The justification for that was that, which is still that we are hugely indebted as far as the energy sector is concerned, in excess of about $1.2 billion. And so we needed to quickly do something to defray that debt. And by so doing, that 1 Ghana cedi levy would help in solving that particular problem. Never mind that previously we had ESLA, which we decided to use for something else entirely. And so the need for that was why there was a 1 cedi levy. Now, what happens is that if government decides that it is going to take off this 1 Ghana cedi levy, I mean, it's going to give us some respite. If you drive, you go to the pump, you are going to buy 30 liters of fuel. That is 30 Ghana cedis off, the amount you are going to pay eventually. And so that would give Ghanaians some cushion. But we know what's happening in the international world. We know what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz. We know what's happening in Iran and the repercussions that we are feeling as a result of that. Now the conversation is that, look, yes, if government decides that it is taking off the 1 cedi, it will help us. However, how does government make up for that deficit, that tax deficit, that 1 Ghana cedi levy deficit? How does it make up for it? Already we are told that we are not doing so well as far as taxes are concerned in Africa and the sub-region. We are not among the top countries where people comply as far as taxes are concerned. 90% of the tax generated in Ghana, we are told, comes from the capital. So we have issues with taxes already. You understand? You take what we generate. We are only able to pay public sector emoluments and then interest on debts. That is woefully inadequate around the country. And so if you are taking that 1 Ghana cedi, it puts us into further trouble. But the conversation is that people have stolen so much money, more than what we are paying for as taxes, and these people are not held accountable. I'm going to start the conversation with you, Holali. Why have we not seen results as far as oral is concerned? We saw the verve, the enthusiasm, the vigor with which you came to Ghanaians, convinced us that people have plundered the purse. You did your own investigations. Okujeto Ablakwa was leading the charge. Plenty information, a lot of files. Why? What is happening? Why aren't we seeing results? We are about 16 months into your administration. Still no show. Why is that?
Well, again, let me say a good afternoon to you and to my senior brother here, Prof. It's been a while. I'll take it from where you started. I want to follow the same trajectory. We've had issues in the energy sector, for instance. Now listen to the president the other time. He was very clear. In fact, upon coming into office, they met with the independent power producers. And they managed to convince them to take some form of a haircut on what we owe them. And I think he mentioned that they agreed to give us a cut of 20%. Since then, we've been trying our best to be up to date with our obligations with regards to the debts we owe them. And indeed, with regards to the current production and everything that is supplied to us, we are up to date. The moment is supplied, we pay.
You pay.
Now, the thing with the 1 Ghana cedi is this. I'm yet to hear any suggestion with regards to, indeed, we must be asking ourselves, what was it meant to do specifically? Of course, there are legacy debts in the energy sector, but specifically, what is that 1 cedi per liter meant to do? We are told that in the build-up, when it comes to building and all that, there is production and all that. How much they sell the power to it and all that. With regards to the production, there is the element of the plants, and then the fuel to power them for production. Now that fuel component has never been part of the agreement we had with them. They have come in with their machines to produce power, but we had to supply the fuel, for the production of the power. The previous government never bothered to do that, so it became a debt. Now, it must come from somewhere. The payment of those debts must come from somewhere. So when this government came into power, my own government, the NDC government came into power, we decided that, look, in order that we don't pile up debts again, because indeed the reason the MPP was booted out of government was because they had run this country, aground with debts, unsustainable. By the time they were leaving, Ghana was highly indebted. Indeed, we were in debt distress. Nobody even wanted to look into our face to even give us $100, let alone 1 million, because we owed so much we couldn't pay. So the issue of accumulating debt again was not part of the conversation at all, especially in the energy sector. That's how come we came up with the 1 Ghana cedi. Funnily for us, we had very prudent economic management currently. Of course, some austere measures were taken. It didn't bring comfort to Ghanaians, but once we started seeing the signs, a very stable currency, that was at a certain level that was good enough for business, especially import and all that. That's number one. It led to a lot of things, reducing, and of course, prudent management also with regards to the fiscal side. Now, inflation is somewhere around 3%. So the rate at which things were going up and down, I remember some time ago in between 2024 and 2025, if we go to the market today to buy something at 100 Ghana cedis, tomorrow we go, it's 150.
That's true.
At a point, we have inflation of about 50%. Now, all that is in the past. So at least there's a certain level of comfort. If the cedi is, regain strength, it means that we can import crude and all the products at a certain lower rate. That's how come when we even place the 1 cedi on it, we're still buying fuel at 11 cedis. Even with the 1 cedi, on each liter and all that. But of course, definitely we would have to say it anyway, but not to mean an excuse. The war in Iran and, Israel, US, it has directly affected everything. The price of crude, for the first time in a very long while, it's gone up to, more than $100 per barrel. And these are facts. It's same produced into the various products that we consume here, we import and consume, which will be petrol, diesel and all that. It means that prices will equally go up. Currently, how much is it on the market?
13.
So it means ideally the real price is around 12.
But there's still other taxes.
I'm even speaking in relation to the 1 cedi.
Yeah.
So technically, it's still around 12. And comparatively, I would think that we didn't have it like this some time ago when oil was off the roof. It was more expensive than we have it today. So generally, yes, things are still within check and all that. Now fast forward, of course, are we going to even bother ourselves to complain if things were good and all that? We had inherited a government with so much debt. Some of these debts were accrued through greed of certain state institutions and all that. When we're in opposition, as we campaigned, of course, we used those things. And you see, let me make this thing very, very clear. The NDC's campaign for oral is very, very simple. And as you perfectly, described, oral is Operation Recover or Loot. It is meant for the recovery of loot. State, resources, not only money. I think these are some of the things that we should also put in perspective when we're having these discussions. What oral is seeking to recover is not only money.
Yes.
But of course, yes, a greater component is money. Some people misapply themselves. They did certain things with the opportunities they had, the offices they had and all that. Yes, but money is very, very, key on top of it. So oral is meant to recover all those things. Now, the question is, where are we so far with oral? It will be very disingenuous on anybody's part to create the impression as though nothing is being done with oral. Now, you see, there is one problem we have in this country. Where we get information from is very, very important.
Right.
Me sitting here with you in this studio with my senior brother, Prof. He's an academic, so definitely he's into research. I'm sure definitely any time, any point in time, he will do his checks before he comes out, to commit himself to any discussion. Question is, are all Ghanaians doing the same thing? I have heard the President of the Republic during SONA. I've heard his Minister for Government Communications. On several occasions, I've even heard the Attorney General himself outlining, enumerating the cases that so far we are, investigating and all that. And to be honest with you, I do not want to be of the impression that, people who are saying oral is dead and all those kind of things, they actually believe that we can just walk into people's homes, pick them and go and throw them in jail before we even investigate what we claim they have done. As we sit here, even from the top of my head, when we were in opposition, I spoke about the Sputnik V issue, for instance. On several platforms that I got the opportunity, I always said that man, when we come to power, he'll be one of the first people to go to jail. He's been arrested and he's been cautioned. His statements has been taken. He's been processed, for court. By now, he should even start having his day in court. Because the vaccine was selling at $10, and you took $19 of our money to go and buy it.
I remember.
A difference of 9. I said it on time without number that this man is going to go to jail, and he must go to jail. He must bring our money and still serve some jail, sentence for, the kind of behavior he put up. True to our word, when we came, he's been picked up, he's been cautioned, and clearly he'll be processed for court, and the process will start. Several of them, even the National Cathedral. The president's priority at the time, Nanado's priority at the time, currently is under forensic audit. The initial audit was done, but we are doing the forensics now. We want to establish the facts behind the first audits that we have seen. If truly our monies were applied to a very, judicious use, and quite clearly from everything on the grounds, people will have to, account for some of those monies. Why? We are told the architect and the consultant for, the what do you call it, the National Cathedral, was paid in excess of the industry, givings when it comes to consultants for that project. But we still have a hole over there. The contract is not even done, but he was paid in full, even in excess of the industry targets. So quite clearly for me, there are a lot of things that this, the past administration and their elements, suckers people would have to be answering for, which they are answering for already. Oral is very, very simple. We are to recover all loot. People have willingly come out to want to give back what is in their possession that doesn't belong to them or that belongs to the state. All those things are happening. Consequently, all those things are happening. So, I would want to advise that, look, there are people who are in charge of what we are doing. The Attorney General is there. When he speaks, do we listen? Or is it just that we want to throw doubts about? The Minister for Government Communication, you can even go to his wall on Facebook. There is a lot there concerning investigations that are going on and the progress they've made so far. The president himself took the opportunity during the SONA. I think he mentioned that we had invested in about 460 something cases, which are ongoing. Yoko alone is, and you see when we talk about oral, people think it's only the Attorney General. No. All the other investigative bodies are part of the whole process. Indeed, just recently, the President of the Republic has come out clearly to say that even if it means we have to farm out some of the cases to private legal firms, we would have to do that to expedite actions on the oral, so we can recover quickly and punish those who are culpable. Suckers people who have done this to us, taking our monies, taking national resources, expended it anyhow. Those who can't account for the monies we are looking for would have to go and serve jail term. And there will be no mercy when it comes to that. Of course, we may have the discussion about the pace and all that. And the president himself has even admitted. That's why he mentioned that, look, he is even willing to have the Attorney General farm off some of the case to other private entities. We know Yoko is working. We know OSP is working. We can have the conversation about the pace. And beyond the investigative bodies, my brother, bless, we must also know that justice is not only about investigation or prosecution. The court system is there. There is no way the Attorney General can tell a sitting judge in an open court that, judge, this case, let's do it within 1 week, so we put this person away. It cannot happen like that. And the court runs, through a process. There's case management and all those kind of things. They meet for all those kind of things. So you have a fair idea of how long a case can travel. If the judiciary also has issues, they should let us know. So maybe we'll have to expand the courts. If we need to have special courts or special sittings, it could be virtual or all those kind of things. Let's exploit all those things, because Ghanaians are in a hurry, and rightly so. Because what was done in this country in the past years, where people hoarded money in poly tanks, under beds, and all those kind of things, we need to seek justice and find that justice. In which way? By recovering all those loots. For me, I think that's where the meat of the matter is, the recovery. The Attorney General should be addressing this, from time to time. I think he was doing that at a certain point. But people were like, he was talking too much. How they arrived at that conclusion, I do not even know. Because everywhere in the world, attorney generals address, the nation on progress of cases from time to time. It is nothing new. He should go back to doing that. Let's see the progress of most of the cases. We are all interested. Why? To me, look, most of the things that the NDC said concerning the loot was with regards to Auditor General reports. The infractions we saw in there. People taking money for road constructions which road were never constructed. For farming, which was never done, and all those kind of things. All those things are in the Auditor General's report. What were the recommendations? Were there any surcharges? Yes or no? That's what we are trying to find out now. And once we find that out, I believe that those who are involved will have their day in court. Yes, these are some of the excesses of democracy. If this were in a military dictatorship, I'm sure most of them would be attending court from jail. Because then you would have picked you up first, you go to jail and be serving your sentence before defending yourself. But unfortunately for us, we are in a democratic dispensation. You can't handle people like that. You can't just throw people in jail for them to be defending themselves. Over here, you are innocent until proven guilty. So let's be patient. Yes, it's grinding slowly though, but I sincerely believe that anybody who is interested in the facts would know by now that the facts have been presented. More than 462 cases ongoing at various levels. If we want the truth, we will find it. Something is going on. Maybe the pace is not the best. We can have that discussion. But something is indeed going on. And I'm convinced beyond reasonable doubt that if we should even farm off some of the cases to other, legal, outfits, be it private or whatever they are, we could get some results. But the expedition of those things is what, Ghanaians are counting on now. And we want it now, not tomorrow.
Right. Thank you very much for your initial comment, Holali Agbamava. Let me say a good afternoon to Saka Salia. Saka, good afternoon. Yeah, good afternoon. I hope you're fine.
Yeah, I'm doing well.
I guess to be waiting to hear from you.
Yes.
But before Saka, let me go to Prof. Prof, you have been doing a lot of research work, and I'm sure that even before this government came into office, you may have shared in the sentiments that a lot had gone on as far as the plundering of the state coffers is concerned. We saw what happened with the National Cathedral and the fact that there was an outright categorical statement from the then president Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo that government resources wasn't going to be used for the putting up of the National Cathedral. It turned out that even in Parliament, there was an admission by the finance minister that money had been taken from the consolidated fund to a seed capital for the National Cathedral. There are many other issues that the then opposition party made noises about, led by the Honourable Member of Parliament for the North Town constituency, Honourable Okujeto Ablakwa. In fact, I hold the singular opinion, perhaps maybe other people share my opinion, that Okujeto Ablakwa perhaps was the biggest nemesis of the New Patriotic Party at the time, because for every scandal that came out, he was at the forefront. We heard him so loud and clear with work done, impeccably, as we are made to believe, impeccable work done as far as these investigations are concerned. So I'm sure that perhaps you yourself, you may have been swayed to believe that yes, the state coffers had been plundered. What particularly goes into arriving at the conclusion that, look, there's irrefutable evidence that corruption has gone on at a particular place? Can we buttress that by what, like Holali said, what the findings of the Auditor General's reports was, and say that yes, truly corruption has gone on, and by now some people should be in jail for some decisions, some actions and inactions of theirs while in office?
You have just packed the bread with a lot of toast. Makes it so heavy for consumption. You see, when you see people talk about corruption, there are two forms I usually look at it. have corruption that seems to have been manifested. In other words, corruption that everybody can see because of life behavior changing mode. Vis-a-vis comparing what I earn or I supposedly earned and what others know and how I behave. In fact, that is what is called evidence-based in terms of other jurisdictions where people are being hauled before court for being contested for being corrupted or corrupting the state. Then we have the other ones, which is perception. And that's what we normally do at our level in terms of research, perception index, where citizenry feels that there is a mismatch between what's supposedly supposed to be and what it is. You get it? So if there is a mismatch, and this is from the perspective of citizens, then we begin to now think as researchers, what has occasioned that? And so in our thoughts here, as far as corruption is concerned, there is one that is manifestly being done, for which an individual cannot account for how much he or she is being expending based on what he has been paid or based on what his income can provide. Then the second one, where we talked about citizenry feels that there is a gap in terms of what an individual behavior and attitude is, in terms of whatever resources he has acquired and what he's supposed to have been earning. So these are things that comes and all are sometimes manifested in the mind. But what is so important is that what do we even consider as corruption in our country here? Is it what is in the public space? Is it what an individual has done that is leading to reducing, or that is leading to having made a state suffer some loss? If that should be the case, then we can right away go for the auditor report. The Auditor General's report, it tells us millions and millions and millions of cedis quantified in dollars that goes under the bridge every year, for which either it is done deliberately or not. But the question is that, how do we deal with that as a country? As a country, what is it in that we feel that we have to do to be able to, one, reduce how much wastage that we have in the system, to reduce deliberate acts by people who for once haven't had the opportunity to have an office, use the office for profit. And so these are serious issues that we normally talk about, but at the end of the day, the question is, you and I will talk about it, but someone has to ensure that that is done. Has it been done the way we expect that to be done? So if you look at what you just mentioned, the Minister of Foreign Affairs those days, having seen, which in fact had shown that he was one person that we could say that when day breaks and you see him on this TV station, Good Morning Ghana, he comes with files, he says all those things. Some of them were very glaring. Not even what he was saying. We could all see some of these evidences are available. But the fact is that whoever alleges must what?
Must prove.
Must prove. And so tying that to oral, if you look at the intent and the party ideology of seeking to ensure that these supposed money that were taken from people from the state were paid back or having that, I consider that in three acronyms are called the IRP. They said they were going to investigate all stolen assets from the state. Were going to be investigated, right? They will recover all these assets, having investigated and found that they indeed have been stolen, and then they were going to prosecute. So these are three layers. The first part has to do with investigate. Has there been some investigation? Yes, to a larger extent. Are there still been some investigation left undone? Yes, to a large extent. Are still people who had the privilege of taking some monies belonging to the state left off the hook? Yes, they exist. Have they been prosecuted? Have they been recovered? If you listen to the various arms of government and those other various institutions that were supposed to engender prosecution, you would have heard that some people said some people come behind and pay some money. Some have refunded some amount of money. Some perhaps have come and they have rejected that, right? So the R2 has also been functioned. The last one is P, which is the prosecution. So in my IRP, what has been the source of prosecutions? And if you look at prosecutorial activities in this state, it is engendered in some structural bottlenecks. In fact, what I have even noted is that we haven't actually have a very good coordinated front in terms of our judicial system, where if there are issues about prosecutions, that the judicial system is so coordinated that you can even give yourself a time lag for which an action can be undertaken. And that is a sorry state for us as a state. You see that a judge in his bosom would decide that I'm going to adjourn this case to stem say that people will be frustrated. And by law, you know, frustration can lead to termination of a particular issue. And so they would have been frustrated to a level that this case will never be called or never be heard. Even our basic managerial functions as workers, people usually do that. And so the P has been one thing that today we are all seated here to talk about, because people are awaiting prosecutions. But if you look at the oral in itself, I've also realized that there are certain issues about political expectation and legality. Political expectation here is that we need speed,
yes,
in terms of politics to get these things done. Then legality is that you need to have to follow to the legal remix, ensuring that the burden of proof is dispensed in such a way that issues would not be tilted to only one person. Then we are also talking about the economic incentive of that, and then the political persuasion. Economic incentive in the sense that people who have the privilege of having taken state monies would have used that monies to serve as shields for themselves. And that is what you're going to see. You can't just come. He wields the power in terms of economic incentives. And so he used that as a shield to even, to an extent that, buy a bed for those who are even supposed to prosecute him. Not necessarily giving them money, but necessarily finding a way to get them to cooperate with him in a way that can fester for long. And then we talk about politics in this nature. Politics in this nature, especially if the ruling government is going to think through to say that if you go too harsh on these people and there is a change of government in some not this too distant future, there may be the way of they also having to prosecute our people in a more other ways that may not even fall through due process. These are some of these things. And so for me, I cannot say oral indeed has failed. No, I will say that. Whenever you talk about failure, time lag is of essence to some of us in terms of research. And so how long is the time is where we have to debate here. For some of us, 2-3 years is ample time to say that, look, this thing that you want to do, then you cannot do it at all. And so 1 year down the line, the question is, how much of these prosecutions have been put forth by the state? And how much of that can we see? And can we feel? Can we be able to prioritize and say that, look, looking at some of these cases, I think that the state is doing well. I think this is where we should look at it. We should be able to open up the scale and look at the magnitude of what the prosecution is doing and what the defense are also doing, and how much of these we think that the state is doing very well in ensuring that we get whatever is due the state. And so in my main submission, I begin to come in and we talk about why we think that this has not been a failure and why we think that the state has to do a lot. And the lot the state will have to do is, I think there should be some, I will call it, the judiciary, we need to tweak the judiciary a bit. Not because you want people to be prosecuted, but our judicial system is very, very slow. And it is embedded in structural bottlenecks that cause a lot of challenges for everybody, not only for ORA. And so the state has to begin to work with the judiciary, the legal counsel, for us to be able to see what can we do. My brother, sometimes they take even an average case to the court. Something that can barely be dispensed within 6 months can take like 4 years. And we normally will paraphrase it in the phrase that justice will grind slowly, but whatever.
The rules of justice grind slowly.
Slowly. And I think I begin to think that all the challenges and structural bottlenecks that are confronting our court, for example, we can talk about one judge having to have maybe 60, 70 cases. Why can't we employ judges? Why can't we create more courts? Are you okay? Because sometimes the only antidote or the only sin to be safe haven for any democracy is the judicial system. And so, whilst we are discussing oral and the fact that the judiciary is also contributing to slowing down the performance or the procedural rules as expected, I think that we should think in a larger scale how we can look at the judicial system and deal with some of the challenges that they are facing to a level that would make citizens engender trust in the judiciary and engender a trust on democracy.
Right. Thank you very much, Professor Jamal Mohammed. Let me come to Saka Salia. Saka, for many years between these two governments, between these two parties, if I should put it that way correctly, between the NPP and then the NDC, the NPP will come to power and say that, look, we have discovered massive, corruption in the previous administration. I mean, the most recent one is Sedinam Tamaklo, you understand, where she had to face prosecution. She's currently not in the country, but a judgment has already been passed on her and whatever she did while, in office. This government comes to power and accuses you of same. However, even for Sedinam Tamaklo's issue, look at how long that prosecution took, the period for which the matter was in court. It was about the time you were leaving for office that we got to know that, okay, she's been found culpable of the, charges leveled against her. And so she has to leave America, come to Ghana, and then come and serve. There's been many of these issues over and over. I can go back, many years and say that, look, the two of you, the NPP accuses the NDC accuses the NPP. There is no contestation that Ghana has been riddled with corruption over the past 30-something years since the Fourth Republic. I'm limiting it to that period. However, when it comes to the delivery of justice for the Ghanaian people, as far as these issues are concerned, it appears that the talk is not backed by action. What we see is different. There are political bottlenecks. There are legal bottlenecks. You understand? You tell us that you have to go to court, like we are saying, the wheels of justice grind slowly, like Professor Mills told us some time back. You understand? So these issues continue to happen, and the Ghanaian bears the brunt. What happens is that because there's been massive stealing, I have to pay more tax now to cover up for something that is now a hole in the public purse. You understand? Now, first of all, I'm not coming to ask you whether you admit that there are some elements or some people or some members of your party who raped the public purse while they are in office. I'm not going to ask you that question. But I want to find out from you, why have we failed to hold people to account? And when I say failure on the part of the NPP, failure on the part of the NDC as well. Why have we failed as far as accountability is concerned?
Yeah, thank you very much. Let me take this opportunity to say good afternoon to our cherished viewers and my two brothers, Olori and Professor Jamal. I think Prof, it's been a long time, Yeah, it's been a long time. And when I came in, I was hearing Olali doing all manner of gendarme analysis and all that. And you see, let's be blunt and honest with the truth. Any government worth a salt has to prosecute people who one way or the other plunder this nation, either even wittingly or knowingly. Any government worth a salt has to do so. Whether you promise to do so or not, it is your duty to ensure that people who loot the public exchequer are taken to account at the law courts. And for that matter, I would not say whether or not the NDC will get some people prosecuted and get conviction. But the fact of the matter is that we are discussing what they called or they Christian or named as oral. For me, that oral thing was a propaganda tool to canvass for votes. And I remember, I was even surprised when I saw it in their manifesto. It was once again, I mean, Okujato Ablakwa propaganda acronym that he devised, and then the NDC took it. I remember he was the one who named Ora. Say he was going to what was the operation retrieve all loot, and he was going around with it, and he even said that Malik Basantali was his deputy. He said that Malik Basantali was his deputy, and all of a sudden we saw that thing called oral in the NDC manifesto. Then I said, oh, then this propaganda tool is bound to fail. You don't need such a name in order to prosecute people. And historically, I mean, the NDC has been proven not to be a serious political party when it comes to, prosecution and getting conviction. Historically, I don't know who they have ever convicted. They have ever prosecuted and gotten conviction. Because they are not methodical when it comes to, the legal issues. To the extent, because everything that they do or say is loaded with propaganda. And you don't go to court with propaganda. And they have, but that does not also mean that they normally fail to take people to court. I remember in 2007 and 2009, they've taken all manner of people to court under Professor Mills. All manner of people. They've taken former ministers, Osaya J on rice issue, NIB managing director. They've taken the Yana Mata. They've taken Rokubro Bay, Ghana at 50. Rokubro Bay, the former chief of staff. Mpianim. They've taken all manner of people, including Asabi and his wife, and all. I mean, the list is endless. And you know what? They never even convicted one person. Because everything was about propaganda. Oh, we promised in opposition that we found the killers of ABCD. We promised in opposition that ABCD was happening. So we have to show, we have to do something for the people to see that we are doing something. And when the mindset is like that, you won't get conviction. You remember, MPP has always gotten convictions. And this is not to say that they should just go for innocent people and convict them, for the sake of it. I'm saying that if you look at the past and the Kufuor regime, a lot of them, the quality grain issue, where Ibrahim Adam and all those involved were convicted. I even visited some of them at the Kufuor prison and all that. So these are issues. The NPP is so methodical that, to the extent that when the issue arrives, they don't go and do propaganda with it. They don't do all manner of fanciful things, all manner of propaganda on the air, all manner of calling people press conferences, even when the case is not even sent to court yet. It creates the atmosphere and create the impression that everything is okay, and excite the people. Delicious excitement in the people that, oh, these people are going to do ABCD. If you do that and you failed, your failure will be so embarrassing. It will be like a serious fall. Let's put it that way. But when you keep quiet and like a submarine type of prosecution, and then when you get the conviction, you can then come and do whatever propaganda you want to do. At that time, Ghanaians will see you for being serious. This whole propaganda of oral, like I said, started with Kujato and Co. And when they eventually won power, they had to set a certain committee and put people who are already, looking for revenge. The Mevlo, Roman Acha, then the lawyer, what's the name?
There was the former
Martin Pebu,
there was
Okujoto Ablakwa. I mean, all manner of people that we all know that these are people who were speaking against the previous government in opposition and are looking for revenge, and therefore will say any and everything. and will put any and everything into a document for you to prosecute people, especially those that they don't like. And in those documents, the Mavlo himself, for being honest, came out to say that it was full of rubbish and that the Attorney General will have to sieve it. Why do you put rubbish in such a thing? They ask you to go and then look for cases that can be won. Then you go and gather rubbish and throw them at the doorstep of the Attorney General and ask the Attorney General to go and now sieve. Why couldn't you sieve it? Because a lot of you, I mean, including lawyers, Martina Pebu and co., who even today still, doesn't want to have a respite on the MPP. And therefore, if you give such a person an opportunity to go and look for cases to be prosecuted, anything he sees no, he will say, go and prosecute, go and prosecute, go and prosecute. To the extent that they gathered all this rubbish and up to 21 billion. They will go and see some they will go and see some land somewhere. They say that this land was not acquired properly. And then they will value the value of the land. And for instance, I mean, I don't want to be specific, but I have the specific cases. They will go and then take somebody's land. They were even going around asking people to bring their documents and all those things. In one of those cases, they went and they took more or less in like some form of inquisition, inquiring from the person, even asking the person to stop work, and that the person got the land through legitimate means, lawful acquisition of a land. And then they said that the land price should have been more than the amount he bought it from government. So they put the real amount that they were thinking, put it as part of the money lost to the state. And they did many of those things that the Mavlo call rubbish. So I'm saying that they definitely, I mean, you see, the NPP government was not government of NG.
But the land issue per se,
Yes.
I mean, I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
But of course, Saka, you don't think that, especially when it comes to certain communities or certain areas like Prime Accra, and when I say Prime Accra, I'm looking at places like cantonments. You can't buy a parcel of land at cantonment for 7,000 cedis. But
no, I'm not. This one was not even 7,000.
But there are some of them like that.
No, I mean, no.
Allegedly, the former Chief Justice bought a piece of land at cantonment for 7,000 cedis for a whole plot of land. That's why I said allegedly.
Yeah, you forget about that.
But those cases are like that.
Listen. Yeah. If the law says it is 7,000 and you bought it 7,000, you can talk of morality. You can talk of something else. But
it is not morality.
No, not.
It is corruption.
No, not.
It is fleecing. It is fleecing the public. It is fleecing the country.
No. Listen. Corruption is not something that you just see that this one I don't think that is a value and therefore it is corruption. No. If the law allows it, no matter how you think, it doesn't matter. It's inconsequential to the matter. No matter how you think. If the law says that this particular land is government land, maybe you can get it ABCD. But if somebody go there to value the land, if they put an official, government official or whatever that they outsource to go and value the land and say that for ABC reason this land is valued at this particular price, and then somebody go to buy that land, then years on, then you come and say that that was corruption without any reason.
So when it happens like
that,
so when it happens like that, the person does not cause financial loss to the state.
No, listen,
by pricing the land.
No, he's not the one who prices it. You don't go and buy something and go and price it yourself and buy. Somebody bought it for you. Somebody sold it for you.
Yes, so I'm saying that you are not understanding me. So I'm saying that whoever priced the land and sold to the person has caused financial loss to the state.
This is very debatable, and therefore let's not dwell too much in that as if that is the reason why we are here. That is debatable. I mean, we can have a full session on it so that we can properly debate it. But this one, we are talking about oral, and some of the things that they put in there. When Mayan Olali was talking, he said that the Attorney General cannot tell a judge to speed up or hurry up a case. Did you say that or not?
Of course I did.
Very good. And do you know the reason why the Attorney General, put nolle prosequi on some of the cases? He said, this case has traveled for a very long time. So, because a case has traveled for a very long time and you came to power, the best thing for you to do is to pronounce nolle prosequi. Because it doesn't make sense to me. It is not the making of the MPP that some of the cases that the Attorney General came and pronounced nolle prosequi on, kept long at the judiciary. Some of the reasons were so ominous. For instance, for want of evidence, they are now looking for evidence and all that. I remember even at a point, a judge in a case that was about me and other, a judge was telling the Attorney General that if he's not interested in the case, he will come up with his judgment and all those things. And even at a point, that was during the NDC one, your mama one, the judge had to find the Attorney General for inaction and all that. So they were fined for not being serious with the case and all that. So those things happen. But under MPP, you will see such a thing. Why is it that under the MPP, when the NDC were prosecuting Abu Gapele, MPP could have come, even though Abu Gapele belonged to the NDC stock, MPP could have come and said, this case has traveled a long time, nolle prosequi. But the MPP came and took over the case and prosecuted the case to its logical conclusion and got conviction. So it is not because some cases have delayed. No. Under the MPPs. Please check. Abu Gapele was jailed in 2018. I'm telling you, tell me the year that Abu Gapele was jailed.
Let's
No, don't. I'm giving you year. You tell me your year. I'm telling you. So don't argue with me on some of these things. So you check what? Because you haven't given me your alternative year.
He was convicted in February of 2018. That's
February.
Yeah, of 2018. Yeah.
Yes. When did the prosecution start?
Look at this.
I don't.
I told you the prosecution started under the NDC. So, but I told you when
his conviction was overturned in 2019.
Overturned. He was given pardon.
He was pardoned.
So not overturned. Yeah. So.
But I know
no, but I mean, you have to apologize. Don't try to fire as if you are right. You are not right.
No, but it's an NDC man, and we had.
Did you get conviction
in 2018?
Did you get conviction?
What matters is that we had our own prosecutor. How many of the people did we have prosecuted?
Look at it.
In 8 years, how many MPP people did the NATO direct that you should be investigated?
A lot of people. Some of them might not be high profile for you to know, but a lot of people were prosecuted.
Name one.
Who were part of the MPP?
Who?
I'm telling you. MPP one under J. Kufuor. Didn't we prosecute our sports minister and got even conviction?
He was not a member of the MPP.
I said our sports minister. He was appointed under the MPP government. Didn't we? So keep quiet there.
He was not a member of the MPP. They are saying MPP person. How many did you convict?
What I like about Zakes,
He's always dodging the questions.
Which question am I dodging?
You let him.
Which question am I dodging?
You finish.
So I'm saying that if you take all these things into consideration, I mean, it's not the fault. It might not be the fault of the executive that certain cases delayed. But if you come with the mindset of persecuting and not prosecuting, then it means that you cannot prosecute your own people because you don't want to persecute your own people.
Right.
So
Saka, I want to ask you a question.
You let me land.
Yeah.
That's the reason why when they came, all the cases, including Saglemi and all, they said they should go home. To the extent that even Chachiketa refused some of the pattern that they were trying to give them on the Jachi question matter. They said no, please, we are not going to accept that. So I'm saying they are not serious. They just came to do their propaganda, and they started by nolle prosequi freeing their own people to go home.
So let me ask you.
And ask it, because and another thing, I'll let you. If you come and tell me that people took money for not do work, where they took the money from? This is, for me, I believe that if somebody took money from somewhere and did not do the job, the law or the source where he got the money from should take him, such a person on. For instance, Exim Bank. What prevents Exim Bank from taking on people who took the money from them and not paying, so that the people will pay those money? Other than for you to now come and say that, oh, let's prosecute them, let's jail them. This is not a matter of jail. This is a matter of the people bringing back the money. This is a civil matter. This is a civil matter. And in some of these cases, you see that I'm telling you, I'm giving you an inkling of why you will fail in court. Some of these cases are not criminal cases. The person will take years to pay back whatever that, and in some of these cases, they are not personal. They are not, individuals. These are companies. These are companies. Like you go and take Wuntumi and start chasing Wuntumi as if Wuntumi is a company that actually took the money or engaged in some of these things. Wuntumi is a director. We all know that directors, can stand, in place of a company and all those things. But you don't individualize the whole matter.
Right.
And create the impression.
Saka, thank you. Saka, thank you. I'll come back to you. I'll come back. No.
The outsourcing.
Saka, no. I'll come back to you.
Of NDC lawyers.
I'll come back to you. You have your time.
No, I will give you. No. You have your time. I beg you. Let me make this point. Just give me 2 minutes.
I beg you. You have your time. You have your time again. I beg you. I wanted to ask you a question. So, in essence, you are telling me that the Attorney General is incompetent. Is that the case? Or is it the case that the Attorney General is incompetent, or you don't believe that officials or past officials of your government did anything wrong as far as the management of this country is concerned, and that they didn't willfully cause financial loss?
Clearly the Attorney General is both incompetent and not doing the work.
Right. And so your people,
and you see, let me tell you, that whatever that Attorney General is doing is in furtherance of the NDC's agenda. Not
in essence to truly prosecute people.
Yeah. No, you see, because it will be very difficult for you to prosecute matters that you don't have watertight evidence. But you made noise over the air for everybody to have,
to believe that,
to have even judge the matter,
right? And
that is exactly what the Attorney General is doing.
Right.
He is doing the bidding of the NDC and the government of John Dramani Mahama, and in that case, you have to actually take something to court, and taking something to court would not necessarily lead to prosecution.
Right. Thank you.
And that's exactly what they are doing.
Thank you very much. Let me come.
So the incompetency is not only at the Attorney General, but the government in general.
Saka.
Prof.
Saka, thank you very much. Let me come to Professor Jamal before I come to Olali. Prof. So, we've all established that it appears that this is moving at a snail pace.
Yeah.
You are saying that oral hasn't failed.
Yeah.
Except that we all know that it is moving at a snail pace. Yeah. So as we speak currently, and the records are there, we start prosecution. Sometimes you don't get judgment. Even after, let's say, that particular government that started the prosecution leaves office.
Yeah.
In the case of this ATTOH issue.
Yes, Abuga Pele and the rest.
Another government had to take over. A government takes over, the government will say that you were persecuting their people, and so they drop the case. As we've seen, this Attorney General dropped some cases, including a former bank of the a former governor of the Bank of Ghana. And so I want to find out from you, what do we do to expedite action on these cases. You suggested initially that, look, there are in some cases, one judge has 70 cases
or more
on his or her desk, and that is a lot.
Yeah.
Is it high? Should we set up special courts as far as corruption is concerned? Shouldn't we have special courts that we know that, look, these courts, about 10-20 courts, are specially dedicated to issues related to corruption, and so every day the case is running every single day, and so maximum 6 months, 1 year, conviction is secured, and if we can retrieve any loot, then we retrieve.
It's long overdue. You know, NDC talked about the fact that they were setting up tribunals, and if you look at our judiciary system, the tribunals functions like high courts, and so some of us were of the opinion that just the novelty of thinking of setting up tribunals should have also even occasioned and allowed us to do a general overhaul of the judicial system, not touching the judges, but let's do a general overhaul. But first, looking at our approach to issues at the court, the general jurisprudence that we have, economic matters, and then political expediencies. So that generally we totally look at you could even see that in this let's call this in case, some judges are even in the past were seen to be aligned.
Yes.
The political parties. These Saka, I beg you. Saka, I beg you.
Will you mention the NPP ones too?
But they are all of it. I mean, the Lord doesn't debar anybody because you belong to it. For instance, me, if I go and pursuing law, if I become a judge in future.
No, why should they make you a judge?
My NPP leaning is still there.
No, why should they make you a judge?
You can't make you are
you
too.
Can't be a judge.
Who told you that?
You are too obviously NPP.
Who told you? I can be a judge. I can be a judge.
You are too obviously NPP.
No. You see, if you are at the bar as a lawyer for 15 years,
no, I understand
you can become automatically.
But you know,
So
it's part of the issues that some of us normally sit and talk. You may have judges having leanings on policy. Okay, so for example, policy on abortion, as is done in that jurisdiction. A judge may be seen to be somebody he doesn't want to hear about abortion. That is fine. A judge could be appointed by a political party should not be seen to have leanings with the political. It could be people appointed by, maybe they may think that you have the same thought with them, but I don't think that we should cure that in our amendment to our constitution, that when someone is publicly aligned to a political party,
when it is so obvious,
the arena of judicator, such a person should not come.
Yeah, we
like the deputies.
No, we have
yes. Like the deputy. That's an example. Even like the judge who was supposed to be sent to Supreme Court. Remember, there was one of the justices of the Supreme Court that was supposed to be someone who stood for voter regime. He stood for some primary. I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, I will give you all the names.
You understand?
Pwama was the NDC.
Please.
Secretary.
Slow down.
A PNC. Pwama, the one who said
Gabriel Pwama.
Yeah.
PNC.
Yeah.
Gabriel Scott Pwama.
Yes.
I don't know about that, but what I'm saying is
CPP.
No, but let me. I'm making this point because, you see, in promoting accountable democracies, the last bet steps with if the last bet lies with the judiciary, and so our judicial system is a bit now is getting better. It was very, very highly polarized. That was one. Two, they are highly constrained. Okay, where I don't want to say they were outwardly threatened, but we see judicial system where even the judges themselves were afraid. As to whether they still afraid now, I cannot tell. But I am thinking that we need to do a general overhaul. One, even their training. We should have a bit of some training for our justices. Two, we should have some economic resources made available for them. And their source of economic resources should even be independent of the executive. And then we should also look at how we will come with just specialized courts, as we have rightly talked about, to deal with many cases, not only for oral. Because if you look at what is happening in the system, when citizenry begin to lose interest in the judicial system, then you can tell, you can understand where the state is going. And so the systems that the NDC promised in terms of setting up these other specialized courses, I think it is long overdue. Let's have those ones set up. Let's resource the entire court system. Let's ensure that we employ more judges, and let's reduce the workload of judges. And then the Chief Justice, I think, should be seen to also begin to crack whips on judges who adjourn cases haphazardly, which I think it has not been done in the country, where we expect the Chief Justice to do certain activities where we see that whatever that is required of us as far as it is concerned in terms of judicial adjudicating matters, the Chief Justice will even give timelines. There are some certain cases we can even give timelines. That's not given exact time the case should end, but we could give a bandwidth that from cases of this nature should not travel beyond a year, should not travel beyond 6 months, so that the judge can also be given some allowance to know the number of cases that the judge will hear. Look, there was one time, I think I listened to a documentary where a judge had made a point that in one court, a judge has up to about 120 cases. How can the judge hear this case? What efficiency will you expect to drive from the judge? So for me, it is high time that if the state actually wants to have conviction, especially in the area of this oral, I think the state will begin to now relook at how we can realign this our justice system, provide a lot of resources for the judicial system. Then the Chief Justice should also crack a whip on some of these judges. In fact, some of these judges, some of them will have traveled, some of them will have a lot of cases. There will even be a case a whole year they will not call that case. So for me, for oral to succeed, then we must be seen to be working towards resourcing our judicial system and then retooling their minds towards democracy. They are not living in isolation, but there has not been that linkage between the executive, the judiciary, and that of the legislature. And then the citizenry, who are those who are watching over, who are looking up to all of these for the right thing to be done. And so we must have a situation where our judiciary should not be seen to be living in isolation. They should be seen to be working, and said that whatever work that they are going to do, I don't know, they are doing on behalf of the citizenry. After all, whose money has been stolen? It is us. Whose money has been taken away? It is us. Who is going to suffer the brand of corruption? It is us. And so the judicial system should be seen to be working, and working in a more quicker manner than as is expected of them.
Right, thank you very much. Let me come to Hola. Holali, I'm sure that the many responses you have to...
Oh no, I'll be quick about it. I won't follow Sake's down this afternoon.
Right, let's hear from you.
And in the first place, let's get things, within proper context. I think the perspective matters a lot. What was oral all about? Operation, recover, or loot. How are we going to get all the needed information to follow the people we believe had plundered the state? So a committee was formed to receive information. That's number one. The committee's job was to receive the information, not to prosecute the people that were brought. That's number one. Number two, what was the value placed on the information that had been given to the committee? What was the value? Merely speculative. Because as at that time, no investigation had been done. They were merely collecting the information to be handed over to the proper authorities. The Attorney General, Yoko will get their bits, the OSP will get his bits, the BNI is there, and all of them. The committee was not supposed to prosecute those people. That is why what the committee did was to put together a document. Several cases that had been reported. And of course, on the face value of it, that's where Okujeto said it's about 20 billion. Ally. Exactly the point. So all those things were born out of the speculation of the information they had collected, which was their job and their mandate. Once they had handed it over to the rightful authorities, which would be the Attorney General, and then the others to play their role, it was now left. Look, why? The committee members themselves said, and he was, Saka, my brother, was talking about Doma Level. He didn't even mention the name properly. He didn't even bother to apologize for that. The name is Doma Level. Doma Level himself said that investigations were going to have to be carried out to sift out prosecutable cases from the mere speculations or allegations. Didn't he say that? Wasn't he a member of the committee?
He was.
So I don't know where Saka and his people are coming from. So the speculative value of the 20 billion and all was based on the raw data that had been brought to them. The proper meat of the job is being carried out now by the Attorney General and the other investigative bodies. So Saka and his people should know about this. And look, I'll defer to what Prof said initially. I think the whole thing is about the process in court.
Yes.
If you ask me, I'll tell you that's where the whole thing is coming from. Let's even assume that the Attorney General has sent only 15 cases to court. What is the current status of those cases?
Yeah.
If they were, on an expedited trajectory, by now we'll be seeing something concrete. Why? I'm an Attorney General. I have brought 15 cases to court. I haven't even secured one conviction yet. What motivation would I have to bring 20 more? So if we have to expand our courts, let's expand the court. If we need more judges, let's employ more judges. Look, I keep saying one thing in this country. There's one thing we don't do well, so well about. When it comes to the judicial system, the judiciary service nearly went on strike the other time. Meanwhile, these people, the job they do can determine whether you sleep at home today or you sleep in prison. But their conditions are amongst one of the poorest. Look at our judges. One judge, how many cases? Over 100 cases. What do we intend to achieve with that? If we have to open up more courts, let's do so at the district level. Of course, my party promised tribunals. I would beg Mr. President and the Attorney General to expedite the action on that, so that we decentralize everything, so that justice will even go to the base. Because that's where the tribunals will work anyway. So that most of these cases can go quickly. And before we had is there a fast track courts? Are they still around? And then I think we also had some specialized economic courts and all those kind of things. So it means that we are not doing enough. Look at our prison services. Bless. They are one of the poorly resourced. And it's infringing on people's human rights. In Ghana, we don't even operate a proper jail system. Appropriately, if you are arrested and sent into police cells, the next step for your remand should be in jail, not prison. The jail is the transit between the police cells and prison when you are finally convicted or meant to go and serve your sentence. But people are picked right from the police cells, you go to court and then straight to in someone for remand. Those are maximum security places. No person who is still in court facing trial should be there.
Should be in someone.
So appropriately, we should be expanding our prisons and the judicial system. We need more courts. Let's get more courts. We need more judges. Let's get more judges. For me, I think that's the bane of this oral thing. The process in court. It has very little to do with what the investigative agencies are doing. Because look at what Yoko is doing. See the number of people Yoko is going after. OSP, the Attorney General himself, the number of people he has sent to court. What are the convictions yet? That's where the meat of the issue is. So oral is not dead, but I think the judicial system is grinding a bit too slowly.
Too slowly.
Cases that will be referred to the following week will be referred to the following month, because the judge cannot handle all of them at the same time.
Also, we are made to believe that some of these people some of these people that charges are leveled against, they try to exploit the Constitution, and with every step of the trial, they try to delay the process by finding some legal this one there that that can buy them time. And so that's one of the reasons for which so the law is the nature of our laws is one of the reasons for which action isn't expedited on these cases. Of course,
yes. I think Prof even alluded to that. That the kind of people we are talking about are very high profile people.
Yes. They employ the best lawyers.
They retain the services of the best lawyers.
Yes.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
Because you know that if you miss a step, you are in jail.
Yeah.
And you could even lose your entire, life and everything, So naturally, it is imperative on government. Look, I don't buy this idea. I'm told when you go to the Attorney General's office, most of the lawyers there, they are not the best paid. So that if they were in private practice, they would have been making more. Why should that be the case, bless? The state should equally also retain the services of the best lawyers. Because what has been taken from the state, if we're able to recover it, we will not be going, begging people for, peanuts outside the country and all that. We need to recover what has been taken from us. And the people we are going after have retained the services of the best lawyers around. They will go on technicalities in court and delay the cases. And our judges are also there helpless because one judge is doing about 100 cases at a go. So we're not going to make any progress until we remove these bottlenecks. We'll just be coming around this table every time and be having this discussion, and then we'll be laying the blame on oral and then the government. We all know that Ayini is one of the best legal brains in this country, academically and practice-wise. Saka knows that, but Saka has sat here today to say Ayini is incompetent. Why? Because cases are grinding slowly in court. So I think the government should do something about it. It can't do something about it. Let's bring into force the tribunals. Let's open up the courts, build more courts if you have to, employ more judges if we have to, so that we can have expedited cases in court, so we can get judgment. No, judgment delayed, my brother. We are talking about money here. Nobody who has stolen money will have been keeping the money under his bed by now. They'll be spending it to reduce the cost they would have to bear to return that money. So the more we delay, the more some of these cases become useless, and that's not where we want to get to. We need to expedite it so we will recover everything that has been lost illegally and unfairly to people who had plundered the state.
Right. Thank you very much. Let me come back to Saka. Saka.
Yeah.
So you have said that the Attorney General is incompetent.
You should be apologizing for that.
No. You see.
But then my question still remains whether you are of the conviction that there was no corruption under your administration.
Oh.
Are you? I mean, it is one thing to say that legally nothing has been established. It is another to say that per what you have seen, like Professor Jamal said, there is open thievery. You could see that this person. I saw this person yesterday. This person could not even afford a bicycle. Today he is driving in a Rolls Royce. Then you start asking questions that where did you get the money from? Just about a year or two occupying a certain position, you've been able to amass so much wealth. Well, I mean, there are some cars that some of these people drive. When we add their salary, their entire 4-year salary, it can't buy these vehicles. You understand?
Yeah.
So are you saying you have said that you do not believe or you do not trust this Attorney General? But then again, also as a member of the NPP, would you state categorically? Would you say here and say categorically that none of your people or any member of the NPP was involved in any corrupt activities?
Yeah. I said the Attorney General was incompetent in the context. We all know, I mean, he's even a professor of law. I know that. I mean, but he's not a professor of being Attorney General. And then one thing is certain. You see, when you are with the NDC, a lot of times you throw away your professional competence and join the propaganda machine. And that is exactly what is happening. You throw it away. If not, the Dr. Ayini that some of us know is supposed to be competent. He's supposed to be above board. But look at what is happening. And some of the argument that he makes. For instance, you are not bound to come and give reason for knowledge prosecution and all that. But you decided to come and do it. Fair enough. But when you do that, you expose yourself to people challenging your reasons. And some of the reasons that they gave is because of time. And my brother sitting here have told us that, the Attorney General cannot command the judge to hurry up with certain cases and all those things. But your Attorney General is saying that some of the cases, if the NPP could have done them, they would have done them within 8 years. But there was no case that had traveled 8 years. Some of the cases that he threw away were 2 years. Some of them 3 years, 4 years. Because NPP was not in a hurry to prosecute people, unlike the NDC. We had to go through painstaking investigation to get evidence before we even start the prosecution. But the NDC, they will arrest you first, do all the rough matters, make all the fanfare on air before they even think of whether to prosecute you or not. And even when they take you and then got police inquiry bill and all those things, they will now go and say that we are now going to do investigation, arrest you before investigation is done. I mean, they turn the law upside down. That's the reason why no matter how professional you are, once you belong to that fold, who believe in propaganda, you become one of them. their acts, their DNA will ebb into you, and you behave like them. And for me, I mean, those things are clear. You ask the question whether I believe NPP people are not corrupt or what. I mean, I was trying to tell you that nobody is under the illusion that NPP are a group of angels. I know. I mean, once you have more than one person in a group, you cannot you cannot guarantee the integrity of all of them. Some people hide their integrity. Until you see, they say that if you want to know somebody's character, give him power or give him money, let him become. And in this case, people hide their true colors until they are given position. When they give position and now they know that they are sitting in money. That's where people character come in. So I know that there will be people in NPP who will, do one or two untoward things. And when you allow politics to take the better part of you, and you allow your integrity, to go round unchecked, then you will be prosecuted. And for me, if they even prosecute and get conviction for any MPP person within the NDC fold, I will not be surprised. But don't create the impression that you go and bring 1,000 cases and you got conviction for 2. You are not serious. You should be able to bring like 5 cases and get 2 people convicted. Then we know that you are serious.
So you don't also think that you don't support the argument about the courts generally and the fact that they are bombarded with too many cases.
No, I mean, we all know that. I have a case, which is 12 years today. The judgment still has not been given. 12 years. The case started in 2012. So it's even 14 years.
Under the NDC.
14 years.
Is it a political case?
No, it's not a political case. But and it has gone through several judges. Some of them died. And and some of the parties also died, including even the opponent,
the defendant, the defendant's counsel.
My opponent counsel died.
Are you the defendant?
Yeah, in that case, I'm the defendant.
Okay.
So in the case when it was it traveled from several. You see,
14 years.
And sometimes now I'm the defendant, sometimes I'm the plaintiff. Yeah. And I won the case at the high court, at the lower court, and then they go for certiorari and quash it. So that's where they became the plaintiffs.
Yeah.
Then I became the defendant. So I know and understand the situation. I understand that the judges are under pressure. I understand that cases delayed unduly. But you see, justice delay is better than, for me, justice hurried. You see, when you hurry justice, it means that you can go to court with any trump-up charge against somebody, and by the time
and get conviction.
By the time somebody say Jack, the person is languishing in prison.
Yeah.
But for me, when the matter delayed, at least people will get to hear of it, and then will come to the rescue of people. So, like he said, the tribunals are there. The tribunals are equivalent to the High Court. It's just that the tribunals under Jerry Rawlings were being, misused. And that is the reason why we're being misused. And that is the reason why people don't even want to hear the name tribunals. If the tribunals will act decisively, do the work as it used to, as the Constitution mandates, I think in Article 43 thereabout. If they will do that, I'm sure that everybody will love that. So that we have more courts, more lawyers, more judges, and that will guarantee people rights. So that people will not just go to court expecting that the case will travel years. People die so many times. A lot of people die without even knowing the outcome of their cases and all those things. So it is important that we do all these things. Let us come together and dispassionately discuss some of these things. But to say oral, some people have plundered the nation and we are going to arrest them, then and all those, make all the razzmatazz and create the impression that some group of people are corrupt. And meanwhile, when you come, you are struggling to even convict one person after taking more than 1,500 cases. I mean that you were just fishing. They were in a fishing expedition.
Right. Interestingly, some of the people who have been accused and charges level against are contesting positions.
Yeah, they have to. They have to.
They are so hopeful that nothing is going to happen.
No, remember, they have to contest position because at the NDC have shown that when the current finance minister was being prosecuted, they quickly gave him position in Parliament. That is the majority leader, so that it will obfuscate the whole matter, and it did, happen.
Right.
So people always run to get a position in their various political parties, so that when they are convicted, they will use the organ of the party
as a shield.
As a shield.
That is not true. It's not true.
No, that's not where we could have.
Anti-Imperialist's case was a frivolous case. There was no case. That's why it was.
It wasn't. The government should have gone for an appeal.
Thank you so much.
If it were APP government, would have gone for appeal.
Saka, thank you so much.
That's where you would have seen things.
Thank you so much. But happy under this one. It was the case was quashed.
No, the Attorney General was going for an appeal, and then the NDC government came and then decided not to.
They said he interfered in the process.
Who interfered in the process?
The Attorney General.
No, I mean we all saw the case. The Attorney General never interfered in the case.
He did.
No, he never.
He did.
He never.
He did.
Who said it?
Right. Thank you so much.
My time is up.
My time is up. Saka Salia, thank you so much. Thank you, Professor Jamal. Thank you, Holali Agbemava, for your time this afternoon on the national agenda. It's been an interesting show. We'll continue to ask questions of this administration as far as Operation Recover or Loot is concerned. For too many years, Ghanaians have begged for accountability to no success, and we shall not back down as far as this agenda is concerned. We'll continue to ask this government to be accountable. We'll continue to ask this government to hold officials who have raped the public purse to account, so that whatever monies belongs to the state shall be retrieved. My name is Kokwalo Maso. This has been the national agenda. I'll see you same time tomorrow. Until then, have a nice Wednesday. Bye-bye.